step forward.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Then and Now podcast. I am your co-host, Captain Diesel, and I'm here with your other co-host, one of the three, Lelouch V. How you doing today, my brother?
Not too bad. Not too bad. I'm hating that this version of the world that I live in was like literally last Tuesday I needed a fan to be, comfortable. Today I need a hoodie to be comfortable. This Buffalo weather is just kind of really stupid.
It
But
sounds
that's
like
neither
hell.
here or there.
Like, it sounds like literal hell. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Not necessarily hell, but like, bro, like I found out that realistically that this city gets like 59 days of sun like the entire year. And I was like, wow.
Oh, thank you.
Wow.
I refuse and rebuke that in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And whatever other Lord or God or deity you believe in, they can all go.
The Shell Tucker count?
What is it? No, make it stop. Yeah, guys, today we are here to discuss a franchise that we have poked and prodded on and may possibly get a bigger video on at some point, because I feel like this is a series and franchise worth stripping apart for the fun of it. At least the movies, not anything else. Transformers 1. It's a trailer that recently released of a new installment in the Transformers universe that will be animated. And will star some pretty well-renowned actors. I know Brian Tyree Henry is playing one. I can't remember. Is it Chris Pratt?
Chris Hemsworth.
Chris Hemsworth. Okay, playing Optimus.
I'm not gonna add my usual one comment for the Chris's on this. I'm not gonna do that today.
Leave the Chris's alone, man. Leave the Chris's alone. Let them live. Let the Chris's live. So yeah, we're gonna watch the trailer, kind of break down expectations, what we're happy, excited about, what we're not so excited about. And we can kind of contrast that to the already looming extensive Transformers franchise and movies and animation we already have. So yeah, let's go ahead and get it going.
So I'm gonna start this by saying I'm kind of happy they went animated, bro.
You know what?
I feel like there's certain things that you can do with this medium with it being animated instead of being live action.
I will never be mad at animation.
Hi there, I'm B127. I'm actually working on some nicknames. The one I'm floating.
And I feel like that's also getting back to the roots of Transformers. I mean, obviously it's always been animated before it was comic, of course.
All right. Plus, it's bigger than life, but something like literally bigger than life. When it comes to this, I feel like it needs to be animated.
I just feel like there's certain things you can't really portray well when trying to bring something to live action when it comes to this large. Like, I mean, we're talking about a whole mechanical planet full of mechanical life forms. Like, the budget to make this live action would be astronomical.
I mean, we've already seen it in what, like 7 movies?
Beautiful.
We get like snippets of it. Like, this is a whole Cybertron movie.
You have proven yourself worthy.
I'm excited because we're getting a look at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we ever got to see the origins of a lot of these characters. Like, we heard the legends as far as like, or not legends, but as far as like lore pieces in regards to Optimus being a Prime, which is a knight of this order or whatever else, and these other people. But like now, I'm excited to see what this looks like.
Yeah, I agree.
Plus, this is gonna be fun. Looks like it's gonna be a fun movie from what I'm seeing.
Where's my head? How do we use these things? Oh, look at the wheels! I need wheels!
See, like a moment like that,
That's not good.
I don't know if that would have hit the same in live action.
Let's use them.
I've seen plenty. I mean, most of the funny parts of the live action were Bumblebee jokes.
We stand here together.
And a lot of those was just like, I mean, one-liners.
It's the same joke though. A lot of them are the same stuff, except he just didn't talk. Or they would actually use his one-liner, like his one time of talking for those.
the bad guys.
Why did you cut the door?
What? No, it was already like that, right?
Yes, that's right. Yes, that's already like, yeah, that's right.
Oh, Scojo's in this?
Scarjo
Scarjo?
Johansson?
Keegan Michael.
Okay.
Let me go back and see this full little cast.
Yeah,
Okay, that's pretty stacked lineup.
Steve Buscemi, Lawrence Fishburne.
John Hamm, that's crazy. This is nice. This is an all-star fucking cast.
Yeah,
I want to know what they paid all these people to get them to sign on for this movie. Yeah, this is dope, man. Off top, I will say I enjoy the tone. At least I'm hoping that the tone that we're getting in the trailer is consistent as far as it being. It's a happy, not kid. It's very similar to the Mario movie to me, to where it's like it's a kids movie, but a lot of the jokes are crossover jokes where adults can enjoy them. The story isn't overly complicated and still relatively simple, but it has a little bit of development. Because I feel like, at least from the scenes I saw, we're going to get a good bit of development in Megatron, and like kind of seeing him like turn towards the dark side and things of that nature. I'm excited, man. I know a lot of people felt kind of weird. I know a lot of people like the movies for the majority of the standpoint in regards to the Mario movies, the Mario movie, the Sonic movies. We're starting to see that
The
we're,
Knuckles series.
I haven't even started that yet. I haven't seen the Sonic movies yet. I gotta go see those. I gotta see those.
Well, we can get into that tangent at some point, but on Transformers first. I'm with you. I actually really like the tone of this. I think that it has a tone similar to like a Thor Ragnarok, but like this like warrants that.
Don't scare me like that.
I mean, the tone of Thor Ragnarok is what people enjoyed about that movie. And that's also what made that good to people. It's just it didn't fit with the context of that movie, in my opinion. I mean, but this does, right? Like this is more of a happy-go-lucky film of like, you know, a group of friends on a quest in a quote-unquote mystic world, but it's I guess just futuristic world. I don't know. We can.
I think the difference is because I think they're damn near identical as far as the comparison goes. Because as far as I remember from watching some of the earlier Transformers cartoons and watching the movies, they weren't ever like super happy-go-lucky in tone. They're very kind of similar to the G.I. Joe cartoon, where it was not overly serious, but it wasn't like very like kid jokey to the extreme.
Right. Slapsticky.
Right. And I think to your point in regards to Ragnarok, I think literally the only thing that made people hate that, at least for me in particular, that made me hate it with so much vitriol was because of the title and the actual story that it was connected to. If that movie was called anything else, I probably wouldn't care as much because it's, you know, that's the tone that Thor's been in. That's how people like the character. And I think similar to this one, because this Transformers story is just its own thing, you're gonna have a little bit more grace watching it. You're gonna give it more of a chance. You're not gonna go in with a preconceived notion of what it should be, unless you're just like the most diehard Transformers fan to ever exist, and you don't want that. But I feel like for the most part, it's one of those franchises where people love it for the characters and the concepts, not really for the exact like one-to-one recreations.
I agree. Like it's been created and recreated so many times, even in the comic book form, that like I feel like it's a little bit hard to get attached to any one individual version of the lore. And I mean, if anybody's in the comments that sees this or, you know, whatever, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I've seen so many different iterations of how the Transformers ended up on Earth that like seeing a different version of the backstory, it's almost like a fresh canvas. Because I mean, you can do that with this, as opposed to Thor Ragnarok, which is supposed to be the Norse Armageddon, and then throwing in a little bit of Planet Hulk unnecessarily. Because like, why did you do that? Because
I'm not doing this again.
I'm just saying, bro. Like,
don't do this.
I was just arguing with somebody about it again. It's just like, why did you put Planet Hulk in there? But done with that. Back onto Transformers.
I will get visibly angry.
I'm expecting. Honestly, I think that this has a chance to be pretty good. I'm gonna throw around like a 7.5, like 8 for this.
I think honestly, this has a potential to be like a 9 or a 10. Because I'm at least for me, like when I see these movies, am I going to have fun? That is my number one thing, because and that's part of the reason why I love them so much, is because I think everything in the theater lately in like the past couple years has been very serious, and I think that's why stuff like even the Spider-Verse movies do so well, because they have somewhat of a serious storyline, but the level of just fun and whimsy that they bring is something that's very refreshing to like the Dunes that we get, to the Civil Wars that we get, to whatever other like to the I'm blanking on that movie's name, to the Oppenheimers that we get, like all these dark ass gritty movies that are supposed to be like the Oscar winning award. Like I understand that we need those, and those are also important in regards to cinema and film. But sometimes you just want to have fun, and I think at the end of the day, like at a movies at cinema and movies at its core, it's about going to a theater with friends or family, maybe even by yourself, and just having fun and enjoying what you're seeing, no matter what that is. So films like this, I think, are very at the core of what movies and going to the movies are, to me at least.
I mean, like for a good family movie, I 100% agree. Being able to go in there and leave knowing that you got some laughs and you got a shared experience with your family, I agree 100%. Now, if you like going in there, like I don't go into Killers of the Flower Moon and expect that to be a happy movie, but I know it's a great movie. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's just it depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for something lighter, something that you can watch with your entire family, something that you can rewatch, when it comes out on streaming services, or buy it and rewatch it with the kids, like that's the epitome of what I think this is going to be. And I think it's going to do that pretty well. I think just showing the cast, I think that is a cast that's going to have good chemistry off of each other and bring in good moments naturally. And I think that's something that the Transformers can really benefit from. And like with how dark some of Transformers got, like especially like thinking like Dark of the Moon, like this might be a good reprieve to that. Like just bring in a new feel to it, and then going to that animated medium. I think this is the perfect time to do it, just because animation is just such in high regard right now with series like X-Men 97, Invincible. I mean, don't get me started on the long list of anime that are just really doing well right now. I think this has a potential to be a sleeper blockbuster, bro. A sleeper blockbuster.
And I think it will be, because at the bare minimum, you're going to get butts in seats because of the IP that it's attached to, and the nostalgia that people have from the original movies, from the live action movies and whatnot. Because as bad as a lot of those were, they still left a very huge impact on a certain age demographic of moviegoers like myself, and maybe even up into your age demographic. I don't know. I
mean, we're here, so we can break it down. We can start Transformers 1 with Shia LaBeouf. You know what I'm saying? I might be in the minority here, but I still think that's like a great movie, bro. I think that is like genuinely, like, it's got all the elements, right? Like it's got the seriousness of having a real threat. You've got characters that you can gravitate towards, for one reason or another, because Shia LaBeouf is just super relatable and funny. And then of course, Megan Fox. I mean, we gravitate to her for different reasons, but Michael Bay knew what he was doing there, selecting her. Just is what it is. And I feel like the army set, with Ty Gibbs and I can't remember the other actor's name, but that squad I felt was really fun and relatable. They had some great moments. It felt really Fast and Furious before we'll leave Fast and Furious alone today. But no, I just think it was like that perfect balance of like action, comedy, and seriousness, like you explained it from like an Avengers 1, right? Like it was just like that type of gravitas to it. What about you though? Like I saw it, I was a little bit older when I saw it. What about you? How did you feel about Transformers 1?
I was 7 when it came out, and that was like maybe a childhood pinnacle movie. Like I remember how I felt at 7 years old when that movie came out. Just because we had a plethora of bootlegs at my grandfather's house
Allegedly.
of that movie, allegedly. So I saw that movie in all variety of different qualities, from Korean bootlegs to Japanese to Indonesian to whatever. So I've seen it a lot, and I think it does fit that mold of those 2000s action movies, like you said, with Fast and the Furious. Um, I gotta what time what year did
Let's
the
find out. Let's find out.
no, that came out in 07. I'm talking about the Wanted movie with
Wanted. Ooh, with Wesley
McAvoy.
and yeah.
Because I feel like that was the mold of movies in that era, where it was bring in this one protagonist who was like the
2008. 2008, I'm
2009.
sorry.
Yeah, so bring in this usually this white male protagonist in like his late 20s or sometimes younger, just like this character that's supposed to be like a pathetic looking guy, and then you build him up to where he's like this white male power dynamic thing. Almost on some James Bond type shit, where he's like a super beyond a superhuman at this point by the end of the film. But the difference in this movie versus that other formula of things you saw with those other movies is that the Transformers were made so incredibly well. The CG for its time and even till now holds up very well in regards to how they looked.
Bro.
They made them look grandiose and bigger than life.
I would argue the CG in those first 3 Transformers movies might be better than some of the later ones. Not even gonna lie to
Go back and watch them to see, but I wouldn't disagree. I think the only one I would maybe argue is the most recent one with Rise of the Beast, because I think that looked really, really good. That's when I went and saw in theaters.
you.
I feel like the last one I enjoyed.
We're gonna get to that one.
I
had good things and bad things to say about that one.
Yeah, that one. I haven't watched Bumblebee yet, but I've heard good things about the Bumblebee movie.
I really enjoyed Bumblebee. That one was also refreshing, and honestly, I was kind of hoping that was going to be like the new like anchoring point that they kind of pushed the series from. But it wasn't necessarily the greatest received movie. Like, it didn't get the box office success that you saw in some of the earlier ones. But story-wise, I think that was something like the stronger storytelling that they did, at least in my opinion.
Right. But last night, Age of Extinction, Dark of the Moon, all that trash right there. Because that's when they took that model and that formula and kind of like bastardized it, because you made the Transformers more human. I think like we talk about a lot how giving gods and these bigger than life characters human characteristics makes them more relatable and makes them more interesting. And for the most part, I agree with that. I think that just wasn't done very well in these Transformers films, because they just gave them stereotypic human characteristics. Like literally making some of them yellow, and making them yellow, and then making them samurai, making some of them like be like stereotypical b-boys and break dance and shit with boomboxes. I'm like, I understand you're trying to make them more relatable, but you're picking the worst parts of each like race. And granted, everybody got some. I think there's a racist version of every racist transformer of every damn ethnic background possible. So Michael Bay was equal in his racism. I will give him that. But
equal opportunity racism is
still racism. Between that, the overt sexual, I can't speak to that. I'm tired. The over sexualization of a lot of the attractive women in these movies,
and it got weird with that second set, because that was old dude's daughter with not the Michael Bay. What is his name? I can't remember his name. I actually like this actor. He was in the other guys.
You're not talking about what's Buddy's name from Ted from the last night?
Yes, him. I can't. Why can't I remember?
You like him? The horrible human being, the racist nigga.
I've heard some of his racist stuff. So
Literally, he said the hard R out loud in public.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm blanking on this Boston. Hold on,
Wahlberg.
Ted. Mark Wahlberg. Yeah. How the fuck did I forget Mark Wahlberg? That's how I know I'm tired, bro. Yeah, and the movies later on with his daughter and shit.
Yeah, like
I think she was literally like 17 in the film or whatever else. And he's like, "How do you date my daughter?"
That was
sir, in Texas.
weird, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Michael Bay, bro. After the what was I think it was one of the later ones where like one of the women actors were talking about how she hated him for that, or like she felt overly sexualized. I know Megan Fox literally called this man a Nazi, and then proceeded to hop in the Ninja Turtles movie after that for whatever reason.
I mean, that technically wasn't a Michael Bay movie. It was just about one of his proteges.
I thought he directed it, didn't he?
That wasn't him.
Never mind. Yeah, between that, I hate like some of the stuff he does for like he has this thing, because I know we're just turned into that M. Night Shyamalan video we did with Michael Bay, but he does this thing where he is always trying to capture like a cinematic shot. And I think for the most part in a lot of films, it's a great thing. But when you're excessively trying to do that, where you're always trying to get this like super shot with like a sun in the background and your hero standing there sweaty, like you're always trying to make these damn wallpapers. In every other shot you do, it's kind of annoying because it's not realistic. And not to mention, I think was it the last night where he would keep like jumping back and forth between IMAX ratio, where you would have black bar, or the IMAX where you'd have like a full screen, and then like the next like 2 seconds later it'd be black bars. So he would like double dutch between that. Like the editing was really fucking. I don't even know if I'm putting that on him or as much as I'm putting it on lazy editing. It's just a lot of like little things that added up in that franchise of that Michael Bay movies that really just turned me off to Michael Bay as a director going forward, and a lot of stuff. But if I give the nigga anything else, he can make a good action movie, and that's the main thing. Like the Transformers looked aesthetically cool, their action was pretty dope.
The explosions were there.
The explosions. But even then with the character stuff, I never felt like Optimus Prime felt like Optimus Prime. Like he was all about like he would say shit like being about protecting humans and protecting people and not being hella aggressive. And then his fucking catchphrase for that entire series was "I'll kill you." Like he would run up to any villain he saw and scream "I'll kill you" and proceeds to murder them or rip their head out of their body or whatever else. I'm like, damn, why is Optimus so fucking violent? I don't know, man. It just didn't feel right. And granted, I grew up like most of the exposure I got to the original source material when it comes to the cartoons and some of the Cybertron video games that I think what was it, the game that came out for Xbox 360.
War for
like
Cybertron?
Mid 2000s. Yeah, War for Cybertron.
Great game.
Those stuff I got introduced to that a little bit later, so I didn't really have the initial like defensiveness to defend this franchise from the ass and the trash that Michael Bay introduced to it.
That's that. So yeah, like Transformers is like the live action movies. That's like that's your first iteration of Transformers that you really watch, right?
My first introduction, because I didn't play War of Cybertron until I was like 15, and then I used to be at my grandparents' house, and Boomerang would replay a lot of those older cartoons. I would watch like the old Transformers cartoon and like the G.I. Joe stuff whenever we'd be bored or whenever my grandparents didn't pay their cartoon bill. Not the cartoon bill, but the cable bill. Because that was one of the only channels we would have around. So I watched that at like 16, 17, way after the fact.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, wow, this is what this looks like. It's interesting.
So, I mean, I'm sure E's first iteration of Transformers is a little bit different than mine, too, because, I mean, he was probably there watching, like, the original 80s cartoon of it. I was there, like, you know, like when it was a Saturday morning cartoon, watching it, like, before, you know, Digimon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And One Piece and all of that stuff. Like, it was, you know, Beast Wars was my first iteration of it. So the one that they finally did with Rise of the Beasts, X amount of years later, that's when I first came onto it, watching, you know, with Cheetor and I forgot what the Spider Lady was, and you know, like, so
Rack something probably, I guarantee you.
Probably. Yeah, I'll have to look it up. But like watching that version, and then it became a like later Toonami cartoon for me eventually too. All that before the actual live action movie came out, so I already had like a large, well, no, that's a super large frame of reference, but I knew what Transformers was very well leading up to then. I used to collect the toys as a kid. You know, they had some of the cooler toys.
You were a mech guy too, right?
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
Yeah, being able to like, you know, actively transform a toy from one form to another was a relatively newer concept to me at the time, showing my age a little bit.
Man.
But Like I had already like by the time that movie came out, I was all like it didn't even matter who was in it. I was already hyped for it because I was so hyped for the world. So being able to see that in the live action form, I was like, yes.
I
And,
feel like
and
most of the issues with that franchise you don't really notice as much until you like get older and watch better movies. Because again, like at least I know maybe for me, I watched it young and I was kind of in awe and really again I was there for the big robots and they gave me the big robots for most of the film. So I'm like, you gave me what I wanted. You gave me the robot battles. I'm not really super mad at anything else until you get older and start to see the racism and all the other stuff. And it's like, ooh,
yeah.
maybe that wasn't so good to do.
So that stuff I was very aware of as those was coming out. Cause like I mean 2007, I am what was I then? 8, I was 15. So
Okay.
like that's when the first one came out. So like I was aware of some of the innuendos going on in there, but not like fully. But like by the
Mhm.
second one came out when I was 17, I was like, oh nah, dog, you ain't like I have so many issues with that second Transformers movie that it almost made me not a fan of the IP in general. I really didn't enjoy that one, and then the third one made it even worse. And they captured cool moments, but it felt so far away from what I was familiar with growing up that it was hard to enjoy that some of those movies. Like I didn't the next one that I really can say that I liked again after the first Transformers movie was probably that was it's either Bumblebee came out first or the first one with Wahlberg, whichever one of those. When I was like, oh, this is
Extinction in 2014 was the Wahlberg one, I think. Because the last night was the last one that he was in, which was fucking atrocious. Like when I mean, but like they wasted the Anthony Hopkins performance and had like it
uh,
was that you can actually tell that man was nowhere near the rest of that cast filming that shit. He was in a green screen room by himself on some Ian McClellan Hobbit shit, just like chilling.
spitting, just dialoguing to himself. It's like I hope the rest of these guys do a good job.
It, I I don't know, man. It's one of those franchises where it was so ran into the ground and milked my whole life. Where I'm like, I don't care anymore. Just don't be trash. And that's because I was getting to the point with that with a lot of like superhero stuff as well, where not that I hated it, but Marvel was just like spamming us with so much stuff back to back to back. I'm like, all right, as long as it's not bad, just don't be bad. Don't make it a waste of my time. Don't make me feel bad for spending time and money to come here and watch this. Because especially with movies, I will always prefer to see something in theater, just because I feel like they're made for that medium first and foremost when it comes to sound design and whatnot and visual stuff. And just watching it, unless you have a $10,000 television that's as fucking perfect and crystal clear as as a movie screen, you're not going to get that same feeling. And even then, you're not going to get the same level of feel because you're not in a group of people. I think before Kaori did that, we went and saw the Strangers movie, and it's you can only have an experience like that at the movies because we went in there expecting to watch a horror movie, but the large group of kids and black women that were in there with us turned it into a comedy, and it was great. I had a great time watching that movie. And stuff like that I think can enhance stuff, especially when you look at something like Infinity War, stuff like that. It may not always change the genre damn near, but if you make me go spend money and spend time, don't make me regret doing that and being that bad of a movie. Because it takes a lot for me to. I've only walked out of like one movie in my life, I think, that I can think of. Have I walked out of one? I think I've walked out. I can't remember what one. I may have like walked out of one and then not went back because of something dealing outside, like with the personal stuff. But I've never seen a movie so bad where I just like, all right, I tapped out and just decided to just despair myself.
The Barbarian with Skarsgård. I walked out of that one.
Damn.
Or no, the Northman. I'm sorry, the Northman. That's
I was about to say the Barbarian, like that was that bad to you?
no, the Northman. Northman was
It's a
an
Viking
atrocity.
joint, right?
Yeah. What else have I walked out of recently? Insidious 2.
No, you
That
said
was a
it
while
that
ago.
one. Yeah, you said you had a date. Well, no, you had a date on the first one.
I was on a date in the first one, and they put me to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow, some way, I was convinced to go see the second one. And I was like, "Why are we here? Let's go."
second one was it was worse to me because it was. We'll get into that a whole different day. We can get into certain movies.
Oh, we'll do we last year around Halloween time we got into like some of the good horror movies. We could go into a real bad ones because it's a list. It's a nice list.
We can now that I've gotten the format down for my Popcorn Chronicle stuff. I'm gonna try to do something like that over here. We've talked about doing that a lot here in general, watching a lot of old movies in general. Yeah, I got the format for it now. We gonna knock some of that stuff out. But in regards to Transformers, man, it's just hard to have a lot of strong opinions on this film because I expect good things because the bar was just so low. Granted, like the last one, Rise of the Beast, was like I enjoyed that one and I enjoyed Bumblebee, but the other like 4 movies left such a bad taste in my mouth over my entire like teenage years where I was just like, all right, bro, I'm gassed. And I was pleasantly surprised with the other ones.
Let's do this dive into Rise of the Beast, man.
Yeah.
I do think that movie had so much potential, but the last 5 minutes of that movie, how is this human that got a portion of a Autobot that was getting scraped all movie somehow now good enough to take on an army by himself?
That was so random.
If that makes sense.
That was so
like, was that alluded to somewhere? Did they like have a hint like he was gonna be like that? Something I just missed? Cause like it just got me that, and then like, oh, guess what? It's the same suit from G.I. Joe. Guess what? It's a crossover now.
I think that's what it was. Is like that only happened because of the G.I. Joe crossover. Because they were going to do that and then try to allude to like that being like the fucking suit that I don't know, fucking not Storm Shadow, but Snake Eyes uses. I don't fucking know. It was so random, but again, it was something like Transformers and it being so like out of pocket in general. Like the fact that the world was like coming down, they had to fight like these gorilla robots, and I'm just like, that was the least weird thing to me in that film personally, from all the other wild shit. And granted, I did like some of the performances. I thought our girl Dominique Fishback did an amazing job as her character. I thought Dude did an okay job at being the main protagonist. I can't remember his name; it's escaped me at the moment. He did a solid job. Like the performance, the acting. I actually cared about the humans to an extent in this film, which I hadn't since the first one, in Bumblebee. And then they made the actual Autobots more relatable, but not making them racist in this one. So I'm like, you did a lot of good things there. I think it was, like you said, it was the forced mashup with the G.I. Joe universe and Hasbro. I think because Hasbro's like forcing a lot of that shit after Barbie happened, where they're like doing their whole Hasbro universe thing with like Uno and all this other wild shit. And I think they were just forcing together G.I. Joe and Transformers. I'm so over the universes.
So man. That's not like as forced because it has happened. There have been crossovers between G.I. Joe and Transformers before, but I do think that there is a way to do that. And I think that animation is a better medium to try because, like, realistically, like having, I mean, so they've done it to a degree with the G.I. Joe movies, having the humans be effective against the Transformers. I think they've done a pretty solid job of that. But like Snake Eyes sneaking up on Starscream in the comics was epic. You do that in movie form, I'm gonna look at you sideways. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I don't know. Especially after I know in the last debate tournament, I was a judge and there was a guy who was representing Snake Eyes, and he like showed a scan where he was talking about Snake Eyes literally beheading Starscream with his sword, like he cut this man's head clean off. I'm like, that wouldn't look too bad if I saw that in the movie. Again, just because this shit is so
animated movie, I'm rocking with you. Live action, bro. I don't see that scene going off well. I do not see it.
Yeah, I don't think that looks as good live action because I don't know how you make that look good. Where this guy who is this big in comparison to somebody this big cutting off.
That's what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying.
I see your point. The combat between the Joes and the Cybertronians, I don't see it working too well with unless it's being animated. But I don't know, man, because they may have got canceled. I haven't heard anything about it since then, like since the post credit scene. and I saw like an article or two about them like explaining what happened, but I don't know if they like scrapped the idea or if it's still in development or what. Because I haven't seen anything about that movie. It's because that's been what? It's been about a year.
When did Rise of the Beast drop? Let me check.
Birds of the Beast came out in 2023. I think it may have been late 2023 though. I don't remember it being like
It was a summer movie.
the summer movie. Okay, so it's been close to a year almost, and I haven't heard any news about them starting shooting or planning to shoot or a role being casted or anything. It's just been dead silent on that. So I don't know if it's just never going to happen. They just scrap the idea altogether, which I'm not mad at either.
I mean,
I feel like they scrapped it in for this. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they scrapped that movie and said, okay, let's just do this animated movie and bring in these stars.
I don't know, just because, like, I mean, for one, like, usually animation takes a little bit longer to make, so I feel like this is probably a project that they were working on for a little while before the Rise of the Beast dropped. But I mean, since Rise of the Beast dropped, I mean, we had the strike, so I feel like that could have definitely attributed a little bit to the lack of anything being heard since then about it.
Yeah, you're right. They did last around. It started like around the same time that movie came out.
So, like, I don't think that they scrapped it. I don't think that Hasbro has thrown that away. I don't think. I mean, we haven't heard anything extra on it, but I don't think that it's a bad idea for them to attempt. I just think that they have to really be careful about the medium that they put that out through.
I feel like we have to get a Joe movie before then, though, because I can't think of one that came out recently that was good enough to warrant bringing them back, unless they're gonna like do it to where they origin stories in the Transformers movie.
You use too many words, right? I haven't seen one that's good, and that's just.
I haven't even seen the Snake Eyes movie, the solo movie yet to see how good that shit is yet.
Coming from a massive, I am a huge Snake Eyes fan. I think he is one of the coolest people in fiction. That movie was garbage. Terrible. Awful. I'm watching Monkey Man on repeat before I watch a second of that. Now, I enjoy Monkey Man, so that's not an insult to Monkey Man, but like, bro, like, no.
I'll check it out, yeah, because I know I wanted to watch the animated Snake Eyes movie that came out that I heard was
great.
Really good.
That was great. Still holds up. A lot of the animated G.I. Joe content still holds up in my opinion, especially Sigma 6. Sigma 6 was dope.
I need to get a Snake Eye sword to throw in the rack because I'm trying to branch out.
That Russian Kage mark on the steel, it got some swagger to it. It does.
I get that. We're gonna look into it. We're gonna look into it. But yeah, I don't know. Do you have any like other like pressing things to say about this trailer and or this franchise? Because I'm running out of words and kind of take. I think we've done a general good job at least for breaking down this trailer and what our expectations are.
Yeah.
I'm kind of running out of stuff.
Yeah, I'm hoping that you guys take this experiment. Well, I'm hoping this experiment goes well. Like, I know anytime you switch from one medium to another, there's a little bit of a gamble there. I'm hoping that it pays off for them. And if it does, I hope it starts a trend because Transformers has always been best in animation. So give us more of that.
I miss that animation style too. That blocky, like the Roblox like looking style of Transformers. I miss that.
Like, bro, like the War for Cybertron series on Netflix is cold. That's some of the best Transformers content I've seen. Just give us more of it.
Sure. Well, guys, this has been Lelouch V and Captain Diesel of the Then and Now podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in. Again, we are planning out some content to come to you guys very soon. We have a video being worked on now, and again, like I said, we're planning to get some of the watch along stuff out in the near future. So be tuned. If you guys have anything specifically you want us to cover or take a look at, let us know in any of our social media in the comments in the comments below or the description below the video. I'm sorry, or any of our other social media platforms. We will be here listening and trying to serve the people, guys. You have anything else you want to plug or say before we get up out of here?
Yeah, make sure you slide over to blur.com, look through some of the blogs, buy some merch. come talk to us and tell us how you think our products are. And Warner Brothers, you got your work cut out for you, bro. You got a lot of mediums coming. They got a lot of mediums. Got a lot of different content pieces looking good, bro. Step your game.
Warner Bros. May be looking pretty tough in the next like 3 years. With Superman movie dropping,
gotta see
Batman 2, the Batman 2 coming, the Joker movie. This, I feel like they're not doing another Harry Potter thing. I know they were doing like the play live, the Harry Potter movie.
We're not gonna go into my feelings about Harry Potter right now.
Yeah, man. But besides those, like they got some shit dropping. Warner Brothers, they got some shit. Hell, the fucking House of the Dragons coming back in like 2 weeks. So y'all got some shit. Y'all got some shit.
I count HBO as its own thing though, bro. Like I know that's technically under the whole umbrella, I guess, but it's just a different caliber of content.
I did until I watched that second Space Jam movie and saw how much shit they owned. And I was like, damn. Or like saw the multiverses DLC set that they're dropping in with like I didn't know Warner Bros. Owned fucking Jason Voorhees. I was like, Jesus Christ, what don't y'all own?
Yeah, we'll get into a breakdown of like the really big entities out there, Disney, Warner Brothers, and Paramount.
Yes, sir. All right, y'all. We will see you guys next time. Deuces.
Don't fumble, Superman. On the same day as Fantastic Four.